This video is a beginner's guide to the Summit game mode on the Division 2 in 2024. It's intended for new players but also returning players that have any questions about the game mode, and I'll be covering every aspect of it in today's video. Hi, what's up everyone and welcome to the video. This is another one of my videos as part of my beginner's guide series in 2024 for the Division 2. And if you need any more help with anything in the game whatsoever, the playlist is linked down below in the video description. Go and check it out. There's lots of videos in there. So today is the Summit. We're going to be covering everything about this game mode in its entirety, mainly for new players but also returning players to the game that just want a refresher. I'll be covering what the game mode is, how it works, any rewards, commendations, things like that. I'm hoping by the end of this video there's nothing that you do not know about the Summit and you'll know everything. If I do miss anything though, please do comment down below in the video description. I'd appreciate that to help others out, but my aim is to cover everything. The Summit game mode is a mode that is only available once you reach endgame, but it's got to be endgame on the expansion. If you don't own the expansion, you will not have access to the Summit and you won't be able to play it. But if you do own the expansion, you get to level 40. This is going to unlock for you, and what it is a skyscraper, as you can see. The whole point of this game mode is to climb 100 floors and complete it, and there's a skyscraper that we're going to be climbing. To reach the Summit, as I've already mentioned, you've got to be in endgame and at max level, which is level 40 with the expansion. This will not be available at level 30 without it, but as long as you're at the required level, you'll get an icon on your map in DC in the top right corner, which is the Summit, and you can fast travel to it. You'll also have this icon in New York as well if you're on the New York map. As we've just seen, once you fast travel to the Summit, you have this whole lobby area. At this area, you've got a tinkering station, we've got the matchmaking station, crafting station, and you've even got access to your stash, so you can go in your stash and play about with all of your builds. At the end of this area though is an elevator which takes you into the game mode. You are able to open the menu from here and find out a little bit more information. We can continue on with our run where we're going to be starting at floor 1 going all the way to floor 100, and we can change the settings as well. If we go into change settings, you're able to set your difficulty and set your directives. So the difficulty settings in the Summit, you've got normal, hard, challenging, heroic and legendary. So legendary acts a little bit different compared to all the others, but basically on all the other difficulties you'll be going through floor after floor, taking on different factions and different objectives as you climb. But on legendary it's the same. You will be going on floor after floor taking on different objectives, but there won't be different factions. You will just have White Tusk, just like legendary outside of the mode. So you'll want to select what difficulty you want to do this on, but also the directives. Now every directive in the game is available on these directives. You're not locked behind what season you're on. I know like in the main world there's only so many directives active each season. Well, in the Summit every directive that's on the game is available and you can turn them all on if you want to. Now turning on a directive, what it does is it gives you extra XP just like outside of the mode, but also each active directive slightly increases the chance for a targeted loot item to drop alongside a normal loot item when you turn them on. So having more directives on is going to give you more XP, but also more chance of getting the targeted loot that you're looking for. It also offers a more, stronger challenge for players that are dedicated to this mode that want more of a challenge. I'm guessing the long goal here would be to complete all 100 floors on legendary with every single directive on if you're that crazy. If you are a beginner to the game now, I suggest not touching the directives right away. Just set your difficulty to whatever you're happy with, whether that's hard, challenging, or heroic, even legendary if you want, and just go from there. Once you've got your difficulty set and you've got the directives that you want on, it's just a case now of climbing the skyscraper. Starting from floor 1, you're going to make your way all the way to floor 100. Every floor, unless you're playing on legendary, will give you a different faction to deal with. You might get different objectives that you encounter on screen now. I've got to protect the hostage where I've got to keep them alive. There's all sorts of objectives that they can give you, like EMPs that you've got to destroy. There's shade crates that you've got to take control while you're doing these floors. and other things like that. There's like drone waves as well, laptops that you got to basically interact with and take over. There's lots that they're going to throw at you, and sometimes they'll throw like 2 objectives in one as well. So just keep on going. This is all random, and each floor is random as well. As you go through each floor of the summit, it'll be randomly generated. Before too long, though, it will become quite repetitive. There's not a lot of variance to the rooms, but you'll never be doing the same thing. There'll be different objectives, different room layouts every single time that you play it. Now, as you are climbing, there are checkpoints that you're going to get to make sure that when you die, you don't go all the way back to floor 1. And how the checkpoints work is that every 3 floors, you'll hit that checkpoint. If you die, you'll go back to your last checkpoint. So from floor 1 to 10, you'll get a checkpoint after floor 3, floor 6, and floor 9. And now continue on all the way up to floor 100. So all the way up to floor 90, your checkpoint will be 93, 96, and 99. So bear that in mind as you go in and try not to die, because if you die, you go back to the previous one. Every 10th floor is a boss floor as well. So when you get to the 10th floor, you'll have a boss encounter. And after every boss encounter, there's a little bit of lobby that gives you some loot and your stash again to make any changes before you carry on. Another thing that's worth checking before you enter the summit, again from this menu at the elevator, is there's an option here to check your threat scaling. So it's G on PC, and it brings up all of the lieutenant squads that you're going to face as well. So while climbing the summit to floor 100 and doing all the boss floors every 10th floor, you are going to get lieutenant squads starting from floor 16. This is just a different sort of floor where you will have a named enemy. There might be a little bit of a challenge with the enemies that spawn as well. Sometimes they spawn all snipers or all dogs, warhounds, things like that. So just bear that in mind, that when you reach these lieutenant floors, you will get a notification, and they are a little bit more difficult as you go. You've got one at 26, 36, and 49, and this menu here just shows you every lieutenant floor that you're going to face all the way up to floor 100. Between 91 and 100, you actually get 3 lieutenant floors. And that is pretty much the summit in a nutshell. You just want to climb all 100 floors and complete it. Now, what was great about the summit when it was first released, and it's still a thing, it's just that it's not used as much anymore because of the countdown game mode, but it does have targeted loot on this mode that you can switch. And from the map screen here, where we see the summit and the skyscraper, if I hold H, I'll bring up my targeted loot. So while you are playing, you can target whatever piece of loot that you want. And if you've played the countdown game mode, you'll be familiar with this screen. You can target any gear sets, any brand sets, or any weapons or mods, so you can get loot that you're looking for as you are playing. So make sure you're selecting your targeted loot as you play. You can change this at any time, even mid-game. As you play through the summit, there are some mode-specific rewards that you can obtain, so I want to cover all of those now. And the first one that you'll be able to get a hold of is when you get halfway through the summit of floor 50. Once you complete floor 50, you'll get a hold of a die and also a backpack trophy. You can see on here, on screen, you've got the canary black die with a skyline backpack trophy. The skyline backpack trophy looks like this. And then there's another backpack trophy called the High Rise for completing floor 100. And again, you'll get another die with that as well. There are also 2 exotic items that are attached to this game mode. You've got the exotic Capacitor assault rifle, and you've got the Ridgeway's Pride exotic chest piece. Starting with the exotic Capacitor assault rifle, it brings us on to another feature of the summit game mode, and it's the challenges that you can do. If you bring up the map like I have here, where you see the skyscraper, one of the tabs at the top is challenges, and there's 2 different sets of challenges that you're able to select and try and complete while you're making your way through all of the floors on the summit. You've got tactical challenges and ascent challenges. You're able to select and focus on one challenge from each section while you're playing. You can't focus on them all. You've actually got to go in and select them for them to actually register and count as well. So it's something you need to manage as you're playing if you want to get some of these done. And the Capacitor assault rifle, the exotic, is attached to these challenges. You've got to complete 5 challenges to get it in one single run of the summit. It's very easy to do, to be honest with you. You can see all of the different challenge rewards here on the right hand side, and it goes all the way to completing challenge reward 30, which gives you an exotic cache, targeted loot, and XP. Now, other than the capacitor, you're only going to get like caches, items, XP for completing challenges. There's no reward for completing them all in one run or anything like that. So it's just some extra value to the mode if you want to use it. But the capacitor will be at challenge level 5. So if you want to get that, you will need to be completing at least 5 challenges here on your run to get a hold of it. You don't see it there because I've already got it. So these challenges, we're not going to go through every single one of them, but if we have a look at these here, you can see there's quite a list, and they're all of different sort of varying objectives, and you've got to go and select it. So if I select combat proficiency, that's then selected, I'm able to complete it. If I move over to the ascent challenges, there's another list of different challenges here. I'm able to select one and have that on and ready to go. Now I can also track these on my screen. If I hold X, that will then be tracked. So when I'm out of this menu, in the top right corner there, I can see how I'm doing on my challenges. Combat proficiency, I need to get headshot kills, melee kills, grenade kills, and signature weapon kills. And then the directives dabbler one, I've got to complete at least 2 floors with directives active. So to get the capacitor, all you want to do is bring up your challenges menu, select challenges that seem easy for you to do, and just knock them off. Once you've completed 5 of those challenges on a single ascent from floor 1 to 100, which again is very easy to do, you get a hold of your capacitor, and you don't need to worry about these challenges then, unless you do want the extra rewards while you're playing the game mode. The Ridgeway's Pride exotic chess piece is much more difficult to get a hold of, and what that requires you to do is find summit keys. As you're going up through your floors, every 3 floors there's a chest that you can open, but only if you find the key on one of the floors prior. So I've just picked up one of these now on floor 45. And then the chests that you open with those keys appear every 3rd floor like the checkpoints work. So at floor 3, 6, and 9 of each 10 floors. See, I'm on floor 46 now, just before we head up to floor 47. There's this room here, and there's this chest inside with some loot as well they can get a hold of. But the chest requires that access key that I picked up earlier. As long as I pick up that key, I can collect that loot, and I can move on. You can do this every 3 floors if you find the key every single time. Now, to get a hold of the Ridgeway's Pride exotic chess piece, you need to find all the parts to that exotic blueprint before you can craft it, and they drop on different floors. So there's 5 parts in total that you need to find, and you're able to find them in any order. They just appear on different floors though. So between floors 1 and 10, you have a chance of finding the normal body armor. You gotta open these chests with those keys and just hope that it drops on one of those floors. Then between floors 11 and 20, you have a chance of the hard shoulder pads to drop from those chests. Again, you just have to keep on farming them until that drops. Between floors 21 and 50, you're able to get the challenging hunting knife to drop out of one of those chests. And then between 51 and 80, out of those chests gives you a chance of getting a heroic flag patch. And then finally, the final part can drop between floors 81 and 100 out of those chests, and that will give you the legendary dog tags. Because these exotic parts are based on RNG with all of these chests that you can open through the summit, it can be very difficult to get a hold of everything that you need, and it can be grindy. There are some other options for you if you don't want to go through this grind though. Now, if you have a friend that plays the game and they've already got a hold of the Ridgeway's Pride exotic chess piece, well, they'll have that chess piece in their open loot pool. They can get it out of exotic caches that they can share with you from the Weekly Shade project. They can also target loot for you as chess piece and hope that it drops on Countdown or anywhere else in the game. And if they get a hold of it, they're able to share it with you. That'll be the easiest way of getting it. If you do need to go through this process though, then it might take a while, because for example, if you were going for the shoulder pads that only drop out of the chest between floors 11 and 20, you've only got 3 opportunities, and then if you miss that, you got to start again to get all the way back up to floor 11. This isn't too bad, but when you're talking about, say, the heroic flag patch, which is only between floors 51 and 80, it could be a little bit annoying to start again and have to get all the way up to floor 50. So what I recommend you doing again is having a friend that maybe has a different or alternate character that can save a floor for you, so you can They can jump in, you can then jump in with them, they can then leave, and you're free to then grind those floors and chests to try and get the exotic part that you need. They can keep on doing this for you, meaning you don't need to start it all over again to get to floor 50. Just something to think about, but you are going to need all 5 of these parts in order to get the exotic chest piece if you have no other means. Once you have a hold of all 5 exotic parts, you then need to go and complete the summit. So finish floor 100 and call for the extraction at the end. By doing this with all 5 exotic items collected, you're going to be given an exotic project. There are 2 stages to this exotic project when you get a hold of it. For the first stage, you are required to donate any weapon with the Sadist talent on it. You got to donate an exotic component, and you must donate a chest piece with the perfectly unbreakable talent on it. Once you have done that, you'll get stage 2 of the project, and for this stage, you've got to kill 3 named enemies from each faction and donate 3 of each faction keys. Faction keys will drop from named enemies of each faction, so you should have plenty of them. If not, just focus on missions with the faction that you need, and you will get keys dropping from named enemies as you go. Once you've donated all of those keys, you'll then have to kill 2 rogue agents. Rogue agents are random spawns. They can spawn when you're doing control points, missions, anything in the game really, and they're just random, so it can be quite hard to get them to spawn. They also spawn in the summit as well. There's floors that you can randomly get rogue agents on, and they work the same as in the open world. So if you're playing solo, you'll get 2 rogue agents. If you're in a group of 4, you'll have 5. So you just got to kill at least 2 rogue agents as part of this project. And then the final objective is to kill 2 hunters. Hunters are much easier than rogue agents nowadays because you can just go to floor 100 of the summit again and kill the hunters there. Or you can play the countdown game mode and you've always got hunters to kill there. So that'll be very easy to do. Once you have completed both projects, you are able to go to a crafting station and craft your Ridgeway's Pride exotic chest piece. I've already done mine, so I've lost all of my parts, but you'll have each of the parts needed to craft it. You'll be able to craft it, and then you're done. You'll have both exotics from the summit as long as you've got the capacitor also. At this point, you should now know most of what you need to know about the Summit game mode on the Division 2. The hardest challenge of this will be floor 100 and the Hunter encounter, and this does provide you with a few extra rewards that I haven't gone over yet, so I just want to cover them now before we close off the video with the Commendations that you can also go for in this mode. So on the Hunter encounter, we've already discussed earlier on how there's a backpack trophy when you first complete floor 100 at the Summit. There's also Hunter masks. The first time that you complete this Hunter encounter at floor 100, you will get the Adamant Hunter mask, and if you complete floor 100 of the Summit during the holiday season when they do their festive event, there's the Dual Must Hunter mask that you can get as well. Here's a quick look at those masks. We've got the Adamant Hunter mask and the Dual Must Hunter mask. As you can see, this one's very festive. The Summit game mode can be quite the challenge, and it's down to the player really as to what challenge they want that to be. If you're just there for the rewards, you can simply get all of the rewards and never play the mode again, or you can get the rewards and try and challenge yourself to the ultimate goal of completing all 100 floors on Legendary with all directives, or as many as you can. The challenge is there if you want to. The only thing we haven't discussed today is Commendations, so I'm going to close off this video with all of the Commendations that you can get. There's 15 in total, so if you do want Commendations, here they are. There's 3 under the combat section. You can see here the first one is Summit Challenge Distinction. For this, you got to finish 20 Summit Ascents, having completed at least 5 of those challenges that we discussed earlier. So very easy to do there. You got the Summit Challenge Mastery merit as well, where you've got to complete 15 Summit challenges in a single ascent. Again, very easy to do. The Summit Combat Mastery merit requires you to get headshot kills, grenade kills, signature weapon kills, and skill kills. And then we move on to the tactical section of the Commendations, where there's 3 more Summit ones. We've got the Summit Challenge Tactical Merit, where you've got to complete 3 Summit challenges in a single session on hard difficulty or above without losing all of your armor. The Summit Directive Tactical Reward requires you to complete 1 floor of the Summit in a single session on hard difficulty or above with all 10 directives active. And the Summit Tactical Merit requires you to complete 10 floors of the Summit in a single session on hard difficulty or above without losing all of your armor. Under the Discovery section of the Commendations, there's just one for the Summit, and it's called Summit Discovery Merit. And this is probably the most grindy commendation there is out of all of the 15. You've got to open the locked crates hidden throughout the Summit floors 300 times. And this has to be you. If you're playing in a group and somebody else opens that crate, it will not count for you. You've got to do it yourself. So a very grindy one. And then under the teamwork section of the Commendations, we've got 3 more for the Summit. We have Summit Freeze Frame Award. While in a group of 4 agents, complete the 100th floor of the Summit. Then after calling for exfil, get every team member to perform the same emote all at the same time. You have the Summit Guardian Award. While in a group of 4 agents, complete 10 floors of the Summit in a single session on hard difficulty or above without an agent being downed. And then for the Summit Teamwork Merit, you've got to complete various milestones in the Summit while part of a group of 4 agents. That's 25 floors completed, 3 Summit boss floors completed, and Summit 100th floor completed. And then the final 5 Summit Commendations can be found on the service section of the Commendations menu. You've got the Summit Challenge Completionism Award, completed all of the Summit challenges at least once. So there's 30 challenges in total across the 2 sections, and you need to do them at least once. This doesn't need to be in one session, no, or one ascent. It can be done at any time. There's a Summit Challenge Merit, which requires you to complete 300 Summit challenges in total. The Summit Headhunter Merit, while in the Summit, you got to kill named cleaners, Rikers, hyenas, true sons, outcasts, and named Black Tusk as well. That could be quite grindy, will just happen over time. The Summit Service Distinction requires you to complete 30 hours of service in the Summit. And the Summit Service Merit requires you to, on hard difficulty or above, complete the Summit 50 times. Now, some of these commendations can be cheesed. Again, if you have a friend and you're able to save a floor 100, there's a way just to complete floor 100 over and over again. So you just have to do floor 150 times, say, to get the Summit Service Merit for 50 completions. To do this, again, as I explained before, you or your friend will just need an alternate character to get that to floor 100. You'll use that character to get onto that floor, then switch all your characters around, log out, log back in, so that floor's safe, complete it, use that character that you left that floor on to keep it safe to log back into floor 100, rinse and repeat over and over. So that's a little bit of cheese if you want it to get some of the commendations done a bit quicker. And finally, to close off the video, there is a weekly Summit project as well in your projects menu. You've just got to complete 15 floors of the Summit every week to get a hold of an exotic cache. I hope this beginner's guide to the Summit on the Division 2 has been very helpful, and I've covered any questions that you may have on the game mode. If I've missed anything, just ask down below in the video comments. I'll get back to you and post anything that you may want to add to this guide as well in the comments for others to read. I'd appreciate it. But again, I hope it's been helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like on the video, subscribe for more content, and until next time, take care and peace out.